Ladies and gentlemen, Andrea, Milica, thanks so much for joining. Just a couple of words from my side. Thanks for everybody who applied for this webinar, and welcome to the first out of two webinars on the topic of building investor-ready teams, people, culture, leadership from scale-ups to enterprises, and from Central Eastern Europe to United States. As I mentioned, this is one out of two from the series, organized in the collaboration of HR4U, Diaspora Service, and Recruity, and most importantly, supported by Vaitili program, a fellowship program that sends entrepreneurs from Europe to United States to be connected with mentors such as Andrea, which is supported by the US State Department, and that program brought the three of us together. So really briefly, I want to say that it is an absolute pleasure to see this talk happen, and I really look forward to chatting about this topic with the two of you. And now I'd like to just give the word to my lovely colleague Milica, who will be moderating this first talk.
Okay, thank you, Danilo. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our webinar, Building Investor-Ready Teams, People, Culture, and Leadership from Scale-Ups to Enterprises. Today, we'll be focusing on something that is often underestimated when we talk about growth, and that is the people, structure, and decision-making. Many companies believe they are ready for next stage once they have product and market fit, but what investors and partners actually evaluate is whether the team is capable of sustaining or scaling that growth. We have two excellent speakers with us today, bringing complementary perspectives. Andrea brings the external perspective, working with companies entering the US market and understanding how they are perceived by investors and partners. Danilo brings the internal perspective, how companies actually function from within and where the most often struggle when it comes to structure, hiring, and leadership development. To start us off, and quick question for both of you, when a company is preparing for this next stage of growth, what is the first signal that tells you the team is not ready?
Maybe I can start. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for organizing such a great webinar. Hopefully, we will have a fantastic discussion. And as Danilo already said, thanks to Vaitili, that an American council that brought us together. Great question, Milica, great question. Basically, what I see as a first sign is that companies or their people and the managers start to look for additional headcount, which really evocates kind of like a signal that the company is not ready. If they're just looking for add more people, which means the company is not settled, the systems are not ready. And basically, what I would advise is to really grow up to the level where as many as possible little repetitive things are automated. So your company is really set up on a system and not just adding a people, which is causing more and more chaos. So this would be like my first, I would say, insight to the topic.
Okay, thank you. Danilo?
That's all. Andrea, I love your perspective here, and Milica also. I love the way that you announced us, since Andrea worked with so many leading brands in corporate, from Dell, Adecco, Heineken, etc. I work with so many startups and seen so many things that fail and succeed from that perspective, and then it resonates so much because that's something that we are living through recently. I would very much echo on the topic of systems. The one thing that I see with not only startups, not only with us, with our struggles, but also with the clients that we are tackling, whether they are family firms or enterprises or startups, it's always the system when it breaks. It is the fact that you're setting your people up for success or failure, because not being ready is the new norm. You cannot be ready when the market is in chaos every 6 months. You cannot be ready as a status quo when the skill sets change every 3 months. You cannot be ready when there is every month a new hot technology that changes everything. So it is about the systems that are setting your people in that state of ambiguity for success or for failure. And looking forward to chat about those systems. That's what brought us together, that topic.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, thank you. So next question, Andrea. When a company from the CA region entered the US market, what specific signals in leadership or team structure immediately build or destroy credibility?
Very good question, Bilica. Thank you. The credibility definitely destroys, I would call it like a tourism or touristic structure, which is not structure at all. And we see it a lot. Simply founders or upper level managers travel from time to time to whatever conferences or just seek for the new clients in the United States. And, just that course, I would say like testing the waters. And this is definitely a big warning signal. If you really mean it and you want to be serious, set up your LLC, S Corp, whatever, we can connect you. This is what we are dealing with on our daily basis. Happy to advise professionals. And then you will be treated as a serious partner in the United States. And plus, you need to bring either a founder or the manager who is ready to face US partners, clients, investors as a decision authority, which means please don't send anybody like the headquarter country manager who has to come to Europe with every single decision that has to be done. It has to be an authority that has power to decide on himself alone. And probably we will talk about it later on, but the dynamism of the American market is completely different from Europe. Besides the fact that we can both like speak English, and I can like very openly tell it to you because I was living in Europe. I still have a company in Europe. And the culture differences are huge between America and Europe. How we do the business, how everything is set up. So that's why you need a decision maker. This is a signal to your counterparts, either investors, as I've mentioned, clients, partners, that you really mean it seriously.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. So, Danilo, from the inside perspective, what structural weakness usually exists in these companies long before they become visible to investors or partners?
That's a good one. By the way, let me just iterate to the audience following us. Feel free to drop comments on the platform that you're following. The questions from you as well will appear in our chat, which we will give priority to answer.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Regarding which structural weaknesses are usually not visible at the start, I'd say two types. This is not a comprehensive classification at all. It is only my subjective opinion. But first one refers to the operating discipline. What are you actually reporting to the stakeholders, to the investors, to the people who are following your growth? There is the symptom called happy ears. That means I'm working on this deal. We have an amazing relationship. We are going out to lunch every week, and we have an illusion of progression. But the pipeline is not progressing at all, and you're confusing activity with conversion. Then there is also the PR stunts, attending conferences without any sales leading up after those conferences. So the operating discipline and the reporting discipline is one thing. The second class is something completely different, and those are invisible psychological and cultural factors. No matter how much we think that we are, as founders, as traveled, educated people, not to be pretentious about it, but talking about my own internal biases and probably the biases of the groups that I'm a part of, we think we are above those cultural norms, but we are very much influenced by them. And there is a big gap between the entrepreneurship cultures here in Europe and in the US, and everybody is affected by that. Some of it because of our Central European education system, which is organized around avoiding mistakes. The best possible thing that you can do is avoid mistake. And to quote Elon Musk, if you're not failing, you're not innovating enough. And when we do get into a competition with the United States, with the US market, we are competing with the founders who are constantly breaking things, constantly moving at a pace that is usually more risk prone and faster than what we as founders do here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree, Danilo. Very well said. Yes.
I learned a lot about this from you and the people that you connected me to while I was in the United States. So pleasure that you agree.
Thank you.
Amazing. So Andrea, next question is for you. What do US investors or partners expect to see in leadership maturity that companies from CE constantly underestimate? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. As I've mentioned already, really, and I will keep it short, US partners are really expecting a decision maker, person who is responsible and has clear ownership of P&L, of the decisions, is able to hire, make a decisions, change the prices. This is very critical, and of course you need a person who has the data awareness, who has the knowledge of the market and everything. The polished pitch deck also matters, of course. But for instance, if you are pitching or if you are just selling whatever, you really need to know your data. You need to know your competition, and you need to know it by heart. You need to understand it, not just like fancy words behind the scenes. So that's not working. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the last question for this part of webinar. So Danilo, when growth starts to outpace a company people system, what is the first thing that typically breaks internally?
This problem is a very, very special one, not only because it's something that we had to resolve internally, but it is something that we're working constantly with our clients on. And again, whether this is in terms of a startup or a family-owned company that outgrew the family, or the enterprise office which is under pressure of the market, it is always this pattern. And the pattern is that if you got to one point relying on your abilities and your power to execute things, you, in the new context, in the new growth, when the growth is starting to so to say eat you, you lack the structure and data to pivot into a new operating system. You lack the data to make decisions. You try to hire people who are also strong operators like you, and not managers, not people who can delegate successfully, who can build the capabilities of people. And then whether you rely only on you as a founder or like two right-hand people in your company, you get into this spiral. And the more you are in that spiral, it is more difficult to get outside of it, because you're in survival mode. Mm-hmm. And you feel that if you try to change anything, you risk losing what you already have. You will risk losing the ground that you're standing on. So those kind of systems, not having a succession plan done proactively, is the number one thing that leads to the people breaking, to system breaking, founders burning out, performance dropping, and etc.
Okay, thank you, Danilo. So one more time for our audience, if you have a question, feel free to write in the chat and ask our guests. So let's jump to the next part of our webinar. It's hiring, promotion, and leadership quality. So Andrea, what is the most common people-related mistake you see when you scale up, expand internationally, even after they already have traction?
Mm-hmm. Good question. What comes to my mind first is that companies, especially from Europe, companies, they're often trying to copy paste the home market or org charts and well developed mechanisms of sales, communication, everything. But they often do not realize that the culture is different and that they need to adapt. Plus, it's often a huge mistake when they are sending often best top performers who are used to work and operate in stable market, but never experienced either rapid growth or scale ups, and they are failing in totally new markets. Mm-hmm. So you really need to very well measure, and I believe we will discuss it further. But this is what I observed from my experience. Very often, a huge common mistake that just sending the well settled sales or well settled senior managers who had never experienced anything in a scale or new markets.
So we are better off sending a young guy to the US, right?
If you want Danilo, I would say somebody who is very easily adaptable, who experienced in his career pitfalls, as you mentioned, who is not afraid to make a mistake and learn. And I believe Recruity has a tool that can measure these kind of qualities. So I would advise to everybody to approach you here.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. So Danilo, why do companies constantly get promotion wrong, even when they have performance data?
Firstly, it's a music to my ears that when companies do have a performance data, even though that is not only the case, mm-hmm. there is sometimes just managerial feedback, managerial hunch, or performance review when promotions are done based on that, and it creates an issue of me as a manager thinking Mark is the best guy, and then other manager thinking that Maria is the better performer, and then they are going in circles in order to evaluate who is the best performer and who is the most loyal one, who deserves that promotion. Mm-hmm. That's the underlying logic that's wrong. They get promotions wrong, and it hurts the performance in teams a lot, because promotions is not about reward. It's about building capabilities, and it's about outcomes. And then when they do have performance data in place, there is still the possibility of promoting your best operator, who maybe does not even want to get promoted. And in those situations, you're receiving a terrible manager and losing your best operator. So a lot of things that we're working on is finding data from different segments, from performance, from behavioral assessments, from psychometrics, from profile, from patterns from the past, to cross that data and extract patterns about deciding who is the one that has most potential to take over that role and to build the capabilities proactively. So promotions, if I can just summarize it in one sentence, promotions are broken because when people do them reactively instead of proactively.
Yeah, okay.
And I definitely agree, Danilo. Sorry to jump into it, but yes, as you said, this is a music to my ears. Unfortunately, the management team is not looking to the ecosystem in a company as a system. So if you promote or promote somebody from a team who is a best performer but lacking all the leadership skills, it's terrible for the guy promoted. Thanks, of course, for these kind of decisions, because I have a lot of work with the coaching and training and so on and so on. But on the other side, it's a drama, because also the whole team is struggling. People want to leave the company or change the teams, and it's just disaster. So yes, if you are promoting, promote wisely and with a goals that you have defined upfront. So the whole system as a company should be delivers the profit, because that's why the companies exist, deliver the profit and sells.
Okay, thank you. So, next track question, Andrea, for you. When companies try to replicate their home market structure in US, where does it usually breaks first?
Oh, as I've mentioned already, yeah, thank you for the question. Uh, in Europe, as I've mentioned, the culture is very different. There is too much bureaucracy for the business. And the dynamism in the States is like completely opposite, completely different. So before making a decision in Europe, you are always looking for all the policies and in the same philosophy is your organizational structure setup. You have people, probably more people in the internal audits, more people in financial department checking all the details for the financial tax, whatever policies. On the other side, in US, you need more people for the sales, more people for the customer focus, because you can break a trust on with the customer side just once. So it's very much a competitive market. You cannot imagine the whole continent speaks just one language. They do not have a problem with the mobility, so they can purchase from whatever part of the states your product. Besides, it's very, very different, since in Europe we have many languages, regional differences. Of course, same as in states, there are cultural differences between variety of states, but in terms of sales, terms of customer expectations, the culture is pretty much the same all around the states. So I would say also having a teams that are supporting the sales teams or customers in the United States, they should be separated from the teams working just for the European customers. Either or, you should hire them locally, which would be my best advice, like hire them locally in the States. Besides the fact that at the beginning or some transitional phase, you have, for instance, engineers or I don't know, tech guys still in Europe is fine, but they need to be aware that they need to work in different time zones, really support the customer, for instance. Yeah.
Okay, thank
I don't know if I answered the question. I hope.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's correct.
You definitely did, and you got me thinking about a lot of things currently regarding the best possible strategies. I was at one point trying to simulate the calculation of costs between me being in the United States, like a founder-led sales, and hiring a person to do it locally and play out scenarios in my head. So you had that effect on me and probably on the people listening.
And you are completely right, Danilo. It's very often the dilemma, what to do. From my experience, if you want to really scale up and it's a like dynamic startup as yours, I would encourage you to come to the States to be with the sales and a business, because the biggest fuel for the scaling the business is sales. Nothing else. It's just the sales. So the sales will build up your scale or power it up. And I would say hire for the stabilized market in Europe somebody whom you trust and who you can rely on the whole business. Of course, you need to have one leg in Europe, but it's from my experience much better to send somebody like a founder or really high level manager who has the ownership of the P&L, or hire locally, as we also provide at least fractional CEOs, CFOs, COs, whomever you need. Plus, our company also delivers a fractional sales developers. At the beginning is a big help before you enter like fully the market.
Okay. So next question is for Danilo. How do you recognize a strong individual contributor from someone who can actually lead a scale or a team?
I feel like now that I'm gonna say the same thing for the 50th time. If you remember when we were in the United States, we had that maxim: "Your network is your net worth," and we said it so many times that it has become a meme. And now, when I say by structure and data, I'm afraid of becoming a meme here. But it is really just about that. When I do my performance reviews quarterly, it's usually, because it's for an agile team, it usually has some internal moves. I do it in one day, but it has 90 days of discipline behind it. And I can share the tech stack with of course, both of you, but I think you're familiar, and with everybody who's listening. The system of reporting that relies on KPIs and outcome-defined roles, the weekly sprints, and now it's very easy to do with AI when you have meetings to be recorded and analyze those summaries, those meetings, answering what was team doing last week, what was learned, what is next strategic step, and synthesizing all that data. Then on the second pillar, I have the profiles of everybody in my team, including me, on our recruiting assessments, where we mapped out types of cognitive abilities, personality, soft skills. And then when you cross that data, I just draw out the patterns and the best possible moves that I can do for the next quarter with the team. So there is that element of structure and tech that can be used to accelerate it, but there's also, to be very honest, a human element, whether that person really wants it. I had stories where, again, I was hired to conduct an interview about and evaluate assess the readiness of companies, operators to be moved to management, and the CEO wants to promote them because they are hardworking, they are loyal. But I spent 2 hours talking with them to see no progress, and then ask the ridiculous questions like, where do you see yourselves in 5 years? I hate that question, but sometimes I ask it for the last, and I get the response, well, I see myself in the same role that I'm currently in. So there's that element as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have one more question for you, because let's move into system. This is your core area. Okay. So
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Would
so
love to answer it.
emphasize defining roles that toward outcomes rather than job description. What actually changed in decision making when companies start doing this properly?
Oh, Andrea, by the way, I would love to comment on this with you, and what do you think about this approach? Because I've seen a lot of. I think that hiring now, after so many years here, I see hiring broken at the very first point, and that is job descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what people do are like define job descriptions as expectations, tasks, and certain qualifications. And now, where everybody can use ChatGPT to write a resume that overlaps with that, it's just so inefficient. And then there is these two alternatives. Ones are skill-based hiring, which is great, and the other ones I'm more a fan of personally. Curious to know what you think as well. And that is outcome-based hiring, where you define a scorecard of the role that is directly taken out of the objectives and key results of the company. You define KPIs for the role, and then you choose a person who is most likely to deliver those KPIs. Very similar approaches in practice, but just a different philosophy.
Oh, the philosophy is the key, I would say, Danilo, because we will have to teach this kind of hiring behind the whole, like the philosophy of hiring. We need to teach the hiring managers and hiring people and the recruiters. I can tell you how crazy the market is in the States. I can place the job description, and within minutes, I mean minutes, like 3, 4, 5 minutes, I have dozens of applications.
Wow.
What that means, that AI is talking to AI. I mean, robots
Yeah.
are applying for the positions. I'm calling to candidate and asking if he has a couple minutes to discuss, and he doesn't know or she doesn't know what she or he applied for, what kind of role or what position. They are even honest that and open. They usually tell me that my bot is applying for me for the positions, and this is also a uniqueness probably on this market, because the market is very big, so they can apply for dozens of positions or hundreds of positions daily. So, and furthermore, they are expecting me to send them the test so they can score it or get tested. But they are not expecting me to call them and just talk to a human, human to human. No, especially young generation is expecting to get the testing. And that's why, as Danilo said, the outcome philosophy of recruitment is very much hot topic, and we need to work on it and train the hiring managers and the whole recruitment community that you need to change the philosophy. Otherwise, they are hiring only thanks to their network. That's it, as you said at the beginning.
Yeah, allow me to just say one quick sentence that Andrea has inspired me to think of. A couple of years ago, decades ago, or in the period before this great technological advance, it was the period of reading resumes.
Yes.
And if there is one thing that I would love to see my fellows and colleagues from recruitment, from HR completely abandon, and a lot of them are doing so already, but that is to stop thinking that reading resumes and intuition is your unique value to your higher ups, to your boss. It is not. It has been maybe 20 years ago. Now it's about building systems and using the right productivity tools. So just wanted to say this, and I see that you agree. I was about to ask about your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely agree. You need to have a systems, and plus to have a tool that allows you be very objective.
100%.
And this is important. Yeah.
Okay, we have one question from LinkedIn. So Jovan asks, investitors from Western Europe and US often cite team quality as their top creation, but
Criteria, I think. It's
yeah,
small letters I see.
yeah, sorry. But see, founders frequently struggle to answer what makes them investitor ready other than technical skills. What specific leadership behavior, team building practices, or culture trait native to the C region have you seen actually accelerate investitor confidence rather than having to be overcome or explained away? Sorry. So, Danilo, Andrea, who would like to answer?
I can jump into it very quickly. Basically, of course, the first impression within 30 seconds, maximum 60 seconds, it's sometimes your only chance, because in America, you have very straightforward communication. So even in the elevator, people talk everywhere, in the bar, in a lobby, and they directly ask you what you do. So you please train yourself for very short pitches. Make a first impression very well. You never know whom you meet. Either they can connect you with somebody, and they will, very, very likely, if you make a good impression. But on the other side, of course, you need to be technically savvy and know your data and present your product or service in a professional way in front of the investors or in front of the customers or partners. But get ready for this couple seconds pitches, and we can train you for that as well. This is what we do in HR for you.
Great. Danilo?
There's not much to be added
for this question.
Not much to be added. Not much to be added besides Andrea's point. Everything is spot on. I would just add, I think one part of the question was, what do we have anything cultural that is and in execution that is actually the advantage that is specific? I do see a lot of founders from the region that are very quick of getting from 0 to 1. Getting to the first revenue. I think we are very good at that. Maybe we might be, I dare say, or in some cases even faster to getting to the first revenue than in the US founders. But from 0 to 1 billion, the ecosystem and the mentality is of course yet to achieve that ripe period.
And I definitely agree. Yeah, the perception is different. And you name it, Danilo, at the very beginning. It comes from the educational system that we go through in Europe. On the other side, in America, sky's the limit. So it's very different perspective, because we are building in Europe our own threats. Mm-hmm. On the other side, in the States, because I went through American university, I can say we are building also the opportunities and the challenges. So we do not see it as a threat, but as a challenge. And that's the biggest difference, I would say. And one more point, you definitely name it, Danilo. The founders in CE region are very, even much more technically more ready with the service or product compared to the United States, but they are lacking the self-confidence to sell it and to scale it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 30 minutes more. So let's talk about scaling across markets, culture, and decision quality. And Andrea, question for you. If a company is entering to US without building a full local organization yet, what roles or capabilities must still be present to be taken seriously?
I believe I've mentioned it, but really, really focus on a person. So if you are sending just one person who is able to do the sales
Mhm.
and has the decision-making responsibility and the power, authority. If you are building the team, focus on the sales, because still you have a good product developers or customer service team as a backbone in Europe, and work on the sales team. Of course, United States are big, so choose one state where you have the first customer. Choose wisely, because you cannot cover with a couple people the whole United States, but you can cover, we are in Texas. So it's the eighth biggest economy in the world if the Texas would be independent. So if you start in Texas, you are covering more than the whole Europe, almost. So this is just an advice. Do your homework, choose wisely. It depends on the product you have. And even if you need just an advice where to start your business or where is the biggest potential for the talent, I don't know, biotech or AI, we still can advise you these kind of things.
Okay, so next question is for Danilo. What data actually improves hiring and promotion decisions, and what do companies track that only creates a false sense of control?
The data on it and the research on it has been pretty clear for a lot of time. When the interview is structured, if you're talking about hiring, when the interview is structured, it is absolutely the most superior way to hire. I'm talking about the structured interview. That means you create a set of questions which are equal to everybody, and ideally you have multiple evaluators who are tracking the interview and on pre-agreed criteria giving their evaluations for the candidates. Following are cognitive tests, psychometric tests are a great thing, which is why we use them. The things that give people false sense of control, believe it or not, it is experience. Experience, which is very funny. Experience is actually not correlated at all with job performance. If you're looking for the decision making criteria when you hire, that doesn't mean at all that you should hire somebody with no experience or that you should disregard that criteria. It's just if you're looking for a perfect shiny resume, due to all the other confounding factors, you're not gonna be on average very successful with your decision making.
That's very true.
It is.
You have hired a lot more than I did, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 9 minutes more. So, Andrea, what is the leadership gap that often doesn't show up internally but becomes very visible once a company operates in the US market?
Leadership gap. Very good question.
Yes, leadership gap.
I would say you need to send a leader or choose a leader locally who has a very good adaptability to the culture and the changes and the dynamism. In the home market, I believe, as I've mentioned already, it's a different dynamism in Europe. The market is more stable. Here you need to really adapt. You need to have a person who is very good communicator, very polite and needs to understand the culture and reads in between the lines.
Mhm.
Yeah, just keep it short. I believe there are more critical points, but this is I would say one of those, that you need to have a leader who is ready be alone, like alone first wolf leading the group.
Yeah, that's the definition of leadership. Okay, so Danilo, where have you seen AI really improve talent decision, and where is the still mostly hype?
Something comes to mind immediately. Usually, there's a lot of hype. Obviously, usually I have not ever seen a technology that is just hype by itself, or that is so amazing in every context. Usually, it depends on types of roles and jobs that we're talking about. The only one thing that I would say is usually an indicator that it's all fluff or all hype is when you see those LinkedIn posts. Claude just killed recruiting. Comment Claude, and I will send you this prompt series that completely enabled me to fire 170 recruiters from my. That's all. That's a lie. It doesn't exist. But what I see working is using a lot of different tools for roles that are whose success is contingent on mindset and soft skills. You see a lot of those roles in banking, in retail, in food and beverage, in sales. You would usually want to avoid having candidate-facing AI, like those AI interviews, AI screenings for those type of roles, because your employer branding goes down. That has been proven. For executive roles, for a lot of roles that Andrea is hiring for, you should completely avoid it, because they are tech literate people who will just cheat their way through the assessment. Because why wouldn't they? Because if you don't respect them enough to appear yourself, why should they go through your process? But that doesn't mean that technology is bad. I think that technology is amazing for a lot of high volume roles that are screening for which shifts you are available to work on. Do you have a driver's license? Those types of data. I think that technology can save billions in expenses, for example, for manufacturing industry, telco industry, hospitality industry. So no technology is by itself just hype or just useful in every scenario.
Okay, so final questions for both of you, because it's 4 minutes more.
Okay.
Andrea, if a company has 12 to 18 months before US expansion or investitor engagement, what are the top 3 upgrades they should make on the people side?
I'm typing notes for this one, so.
Okay. So what I would say, within 12 or 40, 24, 18 months you mentioned, the critical point is make a measurement, make a homework at your own company. Use the tools like Recruity or anything else, but please measure, so you know whom you have on board, what kind of skills, talents, and ambitious your people on board have. So you definitely have a perfect backup trained pool of people who are ready for the scale up. This is important. And first of all, you need to know your goals, of course. What do you want to achieve through scaling up? What's your goal?
Okay, thank you. And Danilo, final question for you. So, what is one people decision companies delay too long and end up paying for later?
On the top of my mind, develop successors. Have career paths for your employees, have them know what their career paths are, and be ready to promote proactively. Whether you are a startup or 5,000 employees bank, it holds the same key for your success.
Great, thank you. So, thank you both for these very valuable insights. I think that became very clear today is being in the city ready, and is not just about having a strong product or market, but about having an organization that can make high quality decisions constantly and at scale. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next sessions.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
And thank you to Vitali that
Thank you, Whitey.
bring us together.
Absolutely.
Have a great day. Nice evening to Europe.
Thanks for